right, Sports Talker Nation, once again, it's the G-Man, your host, as we go through our 2015 NFL team-by-team season review. Today we're going to talk about the San Diego Chargers, who finished with the third worst record, get the third pick in the NFL draft. I am less of a fan of the Chargers than most people are, so to start off with what went right, it sure as hell is not going to begin with Phillip Rivers. Everyone loves Phillip Rivers. Oh, he's tough, and he's a team guy, and he's a talker, and he's competitive. That's all masks the following. He has never won anything. He does not play big in the big games. He has a terrible throwing motion. He blames everybody else for his mistakes. And all of his competitiveness doesn't mean anything as he's throwing pick after pick after pick. I think he's a coach killer. I think their coach will get fired next year because I don't think they're going to get any better. But let's start off there. Again, I have a noted distaste for Phillip Rivers. This is not a surprise to anybody who knows me. But let's start there with what went wrong. Because Phillip Rivers is just not very good. Their offense as a whole, just brutal. Yeah, granted, I'll hear that they had a lot of injuries. Everyone has injuries, but San Diego always seems to have a lot of injuries if you ask them. Their offensive line is in shambles, always. I think they need to draft an offensive lineman, but they need a lot of help with a lot of things, so they can't just stop with offensive line. They drafted a big-time running back in Melvin Gordon and then proceeded to not give him the ball and let Danny Woodhead play constantly. I like Danny Woodhead. I think he's a tough little player. I think he's a third down back. I think he should not be running the ball. I guess Melvin Gordon can't block. I don't care. He's a runner. Let him run the ball a little bit. So that went wrong. The offensive line, brutal. The receiving core, absolutely brutal. Keenan Allen, lacerated kidney or lacerated spleen, terrible injury. Very talented guy. Hope he comes back, but he is kind of injury prone and frail. Even if he does come back, they're still lacking in everywhere else on the receiving core. Antonio Gates is 1,000 years old, still effective, can't be expected to play every game. He didn't play every game this year because he was suspended, so when he came back, he was fine, but it also proved that their Ladarius Green, everyone thought was going to be a superstar. He's not going to be a superstar. They need help on offense desperately, desperately badly. Who would have ever thought when talking about the San Diego Chargers, you'd be talking about the fact that their defense is actually not terrible. Now, they're going to face some challenges because Eric Weddle sounds like he would rather play for free for somebody else than play for San Diego, which is a shame. He's been a great face for that organization. The latest thing that I heard, and I thought this is unbelievable, they fined him $10,000 for not being in the clubhouse in time for a halftime, which sounds like, okay, maybe the guy was a jerk. His daughter was part of the production at halftime, and he wanted to stay out and see his daughter. And on top of that, he was inactive for the game, and they still fined him. Just terrible way to break down your organization and lose contact with your one of your best players in the face of your franchise. So that said, I do think the defense has some opportunity. Manti Te'o has turned into a better player than I thought. They've gotten a decent pass rush. Their defensive backs were actually okay. They gave up a lot against the run, and I think those stats can be a little bit misleading because, let's face it, San Diego was behind often and early, so teams were able to run on them and not have to throw the ball. But I think they're in trouble. I think they're a bad team, a bad organization. Yeah, I do think that, if they wind up joining the Rams in L.A., maybe it gives them a little bit of boost as far as people watching them, but I don't think it helps their franchise. They need to capitalize on this draft. They have a couple of early draft picks. I think McCoy is a decent offensive coach, but they all seem trapped and captive with Phillip Rivers as the quarterback. And I know they signed him to this extension thinking he's going to help transport them to that next level. I just don't see it. And frankly, I'm not upset about it because I'm not a fan of his personally. So I do think they have some problems. Maybe they can make some hay in the offseason. They play in a difficult division with other teams that are improving rapidly. But let's see what they can do in the upcoming year. There's your Chargers year in review. I'm the G-Man, and I am out.